You're like, man, this is terrible. I don't want to see this any longer.
Like, fuck that. It's just a dog and going back to your stream.
How is...
So, they wanted this, did they?
Is there
9:52 p.m.
In the year 2025, in the halls of
there
the
are actually a few people.
a German soldier was running to an office. When he reached the door, he drop-kicked it open. Mein Führer! The Americans are inside Berlin! Adolf Hitler, king of Neo-Germany, looked up from his desk rapidly. Mein Gott in Himmel, I must escape! Quickly, he ran to his secret underground laboratory. Scientists were running around and conducting scientific experiments.
Active the
time machine, shouted Hitler. Hitler could hear Americans shouting in the tunnel behind him, murdering innocent German scientists and soldiers to satiate their bloodlust. But mein Führer, the temporal coordinates are not sent. You could be sent anywhere. It is irrelevant, fool. I must survive so that National Socialism can continue. The thoroughly chastised scientist activated the time machine, and Hitler was thrown through time to 29 AD. When Hitler stepped through the portal, he saw a beautiful man with blue eyes and a long beard. Greetings, my son, he said. Hitler looked around. Where am I? In Israel, my son. Come, have lunch with me. My name is Jesus Christ. Hitler was instantly amazed. He had been a devout Christian all his life, and he was honored to eat dinner with Jesus. During lunch, Hitler explained the tenets of National Socialism to the Messiah. To his delight, Jesus loved it. Within an hour, Jesus was won over to National Socialism. Hitler felt joy in his heart. National Socialism would live again! While they were talking, Hitler found himself checking out Jesus' tight bod. If he wasn't Führer of Germany... But he wasn't Führer anymore, was he? That night...
No.
That night, when Hitler and Jesus were in bed together, Hitler said, Jesus, what do you think of love between men? What do you mean, Hitler? Jesus asked.
We gained a viewer.
Hitler took a deep breath.
He
would have to be bold. This is what I mean. He leaned over and started Frenching with the Lord. At the same time...
It burns! It should stop, please!
At the same time, he reached down and started tugging on his already turgid member. Christ slept in the buff. Jesus broke off the kiss. Hitler, I don't know if I can do this. It feels so good, so right, but I'm afraid. I've never been with another man before. I've never been with a man either,
Jesus. This is the worst, best stream. I have to agree, but it's actually 2 streams.
I'm scared, just like you are, but we can't let our fears rule us. I love you, Jesus. Do you love me? Hitler's eyes had tears in them.
Over again.
Jesus smiled. Yes, Hitler, I love you. They embraced. Again, they kissed passionately. Hitler continued to jerk Christ off. When he began to... this is where it gets bad, by the way. When he began to tense up, Hitler lowered his head to Christ's stiff number and caught Christ's sticky seed in his mouth. There was an incredible amount of it, and it splashed everywhere. When Hitler rose up again, Jesus locked lips with him. He could taste his own salty semen in Hitler's mouth, and he didn't care. Jesus was happy for the first time in his life.
Oh, God.
That's chapter 1 of 3.
Keep going.
By the way,
wait.
By the way, at the top of the page, copyright notice: the characters and events of the below story are of my own creation, and any theft thereof will be strongly frowned upon.
What? Who is this person who created Jesus? I must.
How's that download doing? Woo!
Oh.
You guys asked for it, okay?
I did not!
No, but the people in the stream chat did, and now they're getting it, and I hope that they're proud of themselves.
Keep going. We gained another...
Read the Tony the Tiger one.
I'm not reading the Tony the Tiger one.
We're back up to 10.
I'm not giving you any context for this, okay? I'm just jumping ahead of it.
Oh, God.
I'm just jumping straight to... I'm jumping straight to the end. This is Stephen Colbert and Adolf Hitler, by the way.
No,
Stephen's
please
brow
don't,
furrowed
not that
at
one,
that,
not that one,
and
please.
Adolf was afraid he had said something wrong. He quickly searched his brain for another subject he could adequately express in English. He bit his lip, and Stephen let out a boyish giggle, reaching hesitantly to push a strand of hair back from the German boy's face. Adolf took Stephen's wrist lightly in midair, inhaling sharply as he felt the older man's smooth skin. He leaned into Stephen's gaze uncertainly, his lips brushing Stephen's. Adolf ran a hand through the man's dark hair and deepened the kiss, pressing his taut young body up against Stephen's. Stephen gasped into his mouth and broke free, wrenching his body back away from Adolf. I can't do this, he sputtered breathily. I'm in love with someone else. Adolf cast his eyes down, his cheeks burning, and pretended to be interested in the worn sheets he was picking at. With whom? Stephen sighed. He wouldn't even be born for another half a century. John Stuart Leibowitz. Adolf's eyes stung with tears of embarrassment. He batted them away angrily with the back of his hand. Gottverdammt Juden, he muttered in an attempt to console himself.
Oops.
I just...
Look at you getting one shot. Good freaking job. Son of a bitch.
If you wear one, we'll wear it. You know, failure's bound to happen. I know where fairy fountain is.
No. It's
Nerd
not
Boy
allowed.
is looking up shit on Wikipedia.
We've gained 3 viewers.
Hi.
How
you guys doing?
Yeah, we're down. We were at 11. That's been our peak so far. But
We
someone
gained
has showed
one
up
the minute
and
that you
is
said
sticking
Stephen
through
Colbert
this.
and Hitler.
They
name-
listened to
You
all
said
of that.
that.
Oh, they just left.
My name is Chocolate Donuts, and I'm
Apparently,
here
the
to
only
get
reason
you.
they were there was to listen to the
And
Hitler
I'm
poem.
here to get you
And now
going.
that it's done, they've gone away.
Okay. Tony the Tiger growled. The lightning outside had increased in intensity and frequency. Whose idea was it to leave? Snap looked at Crackle and Pop. It was the Keebler outside. To avoid that obnoxious Kellogg's senior marketing vice president by hiding in his tree. The large tiger. We gained a viewer! The large tiger scowled at the 3 elf-like
Oh,
beings.
God.
They smiled up at him. Where is he now? There's a thunderstorm outside, and this tree is the last place I want to be on an empty stomach. This is the last place that you
And
want
as
to
we
be when a
listen to
tornado
this,
strikes. Pop
The Great
snapped
Fairy
him.
shows up.
Exactly. Those are not great. Thunder sounded in the distance, and Snap and Pop dived a hole in the trunk. They weren't seen for quite some time, and a gust of wind blew Crackle into Tony. He looked up after a moment to see Tony salivating, and he began to get scared. Mr. Tiger, are you hungry? Yes, he growled lowly. There may be food in the tree. We wore stuff here when we're moonlighting in the Keebler Elf Cookie Factory. We hide food in this tree. He started to pull away from the massive orange animal, but Tony did not release his grip. I'm not hungry for food,
no.
he growled even lower, and Crackle thought he felt something move beneath him.
Why does this have to happen?
He held his breath and tried not to move. His balance on Tony's muscular thighs was precarious enough without something poking at him. What are you hungry for? Crackle said in a high-pitched voice. He looked into Tony's eyes. You! You know, I'm not very good. I don't contain many calories. I'm not at all healthy. No, you definitely aren't sweet. You lack sugar, but do not fear. I have sugar, and we shall be great! Oh. Tony put his paw on Crackle's head and slid Crackle's hat off his head and down his front. He looked nervously down at his hat. What do you want me for? I think you mean, what do I want from you? He dropped the hat on the floor and dragged a claw down the front of his shirt. The tip of the claw tore through the material, and it fell back on the smaller man's shoulders. The tree shook as the winds from the tornado hit the tree. The force knocked them to the floor, and Crackle found himself under the solid weight of the tiger. I don't know if I want to continue.
Words. There just aren't words.
The other man pressed his hips to the floor, and he now knew what was pressing into his belly. It both terrified and delighted him. Tony was big. Tony was really big. He had never had anyone quite that big before. Crackle squeaked in delight. I want you. I want everything from you. Tony carefully sliced off the rest of Crackle's clothing. Oh, Crackle hustled Tony off really belly. I can't do this. Tony raised himself a little off the hill, and Crackle used his small, adept hands to push aside the fur to find the solid piece of meat that had been intruding on him. As his hands encircled it, the tiger groaned and his claws dug into the floor. Noticing his partner's reaction, Crackle held the tip of Tony's love rod between his thumb and forefinger and lowered his tiny nose.
Nine!
Oh fuck, I can't. I'm so sorry.
Do this, Ron.
No, Lugash, we can never go back to Hitler and Jesus. Oh wait, we have to, because of this.
Oh no.
Jesus and Hitler have been living together for almost 2 years now. They did everything together. Go shopping, shower, and have intense fuck sessions with teenage slave boys, spelled B-O-I-S, rented from the local Jewish temple. They were like an old married couple, except for one thing. They weren't married. Hitler sought to remedy that. Hitler wrestled Jesus down onto the floor one afternoon and gave the Lord the best blowjob he possibly could, complete with rimming in a stinky pinky. The fuck is... After our Savior blew... After our Savior blew his load and shared a salty kiss with the Fuhrer, he felt something cold slide onto his softening member. I'm not doing this. Look, I can't believe I'm doing this. Looking down, he saw it. A golden cock ring with the biggest diamond this side of the Nile. Oh, AD, does this mean what I think it means?
Oh, no.
Hitler was too choked up to say anything, but he nodded.
Voice, with the sitcom voice. Really? That was just wrong.
Wait, this gets so much...
joke!
But he nodded. Jesus threw his arms around the Aryan hunk. Oh, Hitler, you've made me the happiest girl in the world. He paused. But we'll have to get my father's permission first, and he doesn't know I'm gay. We'll have to go to heaven to talk to him. Hitler was confused, but Jesus explained his plan to him, and he agreed. That night, they snuck into the Pontius Pilate's palace and started murdering every woman and child they could find. They stole from room to room, crushing skulls and slitting throats until a centurion found a little girl with her brains splattered on the floor and raised the alarm. The Lord and the Fuhrer were soon caught, and were taken to Golgotha to be executed. This way, explained the Anointed One, we won't be committing suicide. Hitler agreed that it was a good plan.
That's the best idea.
They were crucified.
Let's kill people.
Soon after they were crucified.
To
Soon after they were crucified, they both died and ascended to heaven. There they went into God's living room. Jesus started to introduce Hitler, but God cut him off. I know him. He did some good work for me in the future. He gave Hitler a friendly smile, which made him feel uncomfortable. Jesus spoke. Dad, we have something to tell you. Hitler and I. Well, go on, son. We're gay and we want to get married, Jesus blurted out. What? That's impossible. No son of mine is a homo. God raised his hand to slap Jesus, but he was crying too hard. It's okay, Dad. Really. Me and Hitler love each other. We want to spend the rest of our lives together. We came
Is this where he turns off gravity?
We came here today because we want your permission to marry. God sighed. Okay, son, if it'll make you happy.
Again, you died. You died again to this.
He leaned in to give Jesus a kiss on the forehead, but he missed and ended up making out with Jesus. They separated, but it was so hot that they were back at each other soon enough. Oh, God, what am I doing? Said God. He tore off his clothes. Hitler was already nude, and Jesus slipped off his toga with a shrug. They did everything. Chain bangs, DP, Eiffeling. God even turned off gravity for even wilder positions, and switched genders a few times for laughs. Jesus was a hog and tried to get his father and boyfriend to abuse him with both their schlongs at the same time. But Hitler and God managed to After nearly 4 hours of wild lovemaking, all three gods were exhausted. They lay in a puddle of sweat and semen. Jesus was bruised and bleeding. His father bought a potion from a local merchant for 2 gold and healed him. After that, he sent the 2 lovebirds back to Earth to get married in a traditional Jewish ceremony. He was sad to see them go, but he knew that he'd just be a third wheel. He went to his bedroom, turned on the TV, and poured himself a scotch.
Classy. What is that, chapter 3?
I don't know you.
No, that was chapter 2.
Where can they go from there?
I don't want to know where they can go from there.
I'm honestly curious. Where the fuck did they go?
One day, Jesus was at home knitting.
Oh, God.
And he heard a knock at the door. "Daddy, can I come in?" asked a soft, angelic voice. The Savior looked up.
The Eiffel Tower, of course.
His, quote, 21, unquote, year-old adopted son, Jimothy, was at the bedroom door. "Of course, my son. Please come in." He patted his lap and motioned for his son to sit there, which he did.
Do you want to bet that the writer's real name is Jimothy?
"Daddy, I have a question. Sometimes my pee-pee gets hard, and when I touch it, I feel really good. Am I getting sick?" Jesus Christ chuckled. "No, honey child, you are growing up, becoming a man just like your other father and I. It is a natural impulse for you to feel that when you think about girls. But Daddy, it doesn't happen when I think about girls. It happens when I think about boys like Zachariah, Zebediah, and you and Daddy Addy." Oh my, Jesus was shocked. But he was also feeling something else, too. Something in his robes.
Oh, no.
"Daddy, what is touching me?" Jesus suddenly realized that he was flying.
Jesus Christ, please have a seat right here.
Are you kidding?
"Timothy, I had no idea that you were a homosexual, but now that you know, I think it's time for me to teach you about making love." He pushed his son to the floor. His 5-inch penis jutted from his robes. "Now I want you to..." But he stopped, because his son had already inhaled it and was giving him a blowjob almost as good as his other dad's. Oh, Jimothy," Jesus shouted as he blasted his semen in his baby boy's mouth before his son could spit his daddy gift out. What the fuck is wrong with this person? Jesus hauled him to his feet and shared a deep tongue kiss with him. When they went to go wash together in the tub, they saw an imposing figure standing in the doorway. "Hitler!" gasped Jesus. The 6'5" figure in the doorframe trembled with the titanic rage that is characteristic of his race.
Hitler was 6'5".
Go to your room. But I said go. The boy scrambled to his bedroom, still dazed from his experience. "Hitler, I'm so sorry." Both men were crying now. "Why?" begged Hitler. Jesus couldn't look his husband in the eye. "Addie, when I was a boy, Joseph did the same thing." Jesus sobbed. "That's how I was turned gay." At first, Hitler froze, not knowing what to say to this revelation. He could see how vulnerable the Lord was at that very moment, though, so he said, "Come here, kiddo," and gave him a hug. "Don't worry, we'll get through this together." He smooched Christ. "I love you, Jesus. I'll always love you, no matter what. Jimothy, come here." Jimothy came in the room, and they all exchanged chest hugs and kisses, then went out for ice cream. The end.
Oh my God.
And I'm back. Hi. What an interesting point to come back at.
What's up?
Where have you been, Dan?
I don't want it generally said out loud, but I did just type why I had to leave.
Okay.
You have missed the worst thing in the entire world.
No, I'm pretty sure I left during the worst thing in the entire world. But
I haven't even gotten to the George Washington Alexander Hamilton one.
Do it.
No. I have not been.
Oh, no.
I have not been masturbating, nerd boy. It got mentioned, and for some reason, people in the chat were like, "Oh yeah, we want to see
by
that."
the way?
Huh? Oh, it's been done for a while. Oh, fuck. How long has that been done for? Oh, it's okay. Good luck getting verified. Yeah. That's a good point. Oh well.